The transfer portal this year has definitely become an interesting one this year, mostly when it comes to one position that, of course, is quarterback. So today I'm going to talk about an article that I just came by LSU Tigers on Sports Illustrated that, of course, talks about the quarterback big board on the transfer portal, quarterbacks in the transfer portal, called Multiple Options for Lane Kiffin and LSU Football in the Portal for the quarterback. This mostly goes over 4 to about 5 quarterbacks on here that could be options for Lane Kiffin and the LSU Tigers to potentially go after. Of course, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. We're going to go over each quarterback, give you my thoughts on all those. We're also going to talk about the situation of what this will be, what situation this would make, of course, also for Michael Van Buren, who, of course, will be our starter for the bowl game, but don't know if he'll be the future starter if we are looking at potentially getting a quarterback in the portal. I mean, you always would like to get a quarterback in the portal as well. Other transfer portal news, of course, as well, but mostly, of course, we're mostly going to look at this transfer portal of quarterbacks. Of course, a couple shocking quarterbacks on this list. Not really going to go over what the first half of the article will go. Of course, as usual, I will leave a link in the description below to this article if you guys want to go check it out yourselves. But we're gonna go over each quarterback, give you guys my thoughts. Do I think they should go after these quarterbacks, and do I think they will actually maybe make a good fit or so with Lane Kiffin and this LSU, and of course talk a little bit more about probably towards the end after I talk about all the quarterbacks, what this would mostly mean for Michael Van Buren. Haven't really looked much into that. Of course, we know he is going to be the starter for the bowl game, but don't know what his future will be like for next season, if he'll be, but definitely would look like if we get another quarterback from the transfer portal, might look like we'll have a quarterback battle this next offseason going into next year. So that is, of course, what we'll be going over today. And before we get into the video, as always, if you guys are new to the channel or haven't yet on here, the BrewCrew channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the channel. Of course, I do football videos like this for LSU and Saints, and I do wrestling content as well. So you guys are fans of those, definitely hit that subscribe button and all that. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and just get straight into the video. First, just kind of go over the quarterbacks first. Of course, again, it was a total of 4 quarterbacks that he had, but an honorable mention to another one. We'll actually talk about the honorable mention first. He actually has it at the bottom of the article. The article is by Zach Nagy, is who made the article. This article kind of came out a couple minutes ago as of me recording this video today on a Tuesday as I'm recording this video. But the honorable mention was Bryce Underwood. Of course, we know the whole situation that went down with Michigan and the head coach and all that. Not really going to get much into that. But, of course, we know Bryce Underwood was committed to LSU for nearly a year, and then it went on to, of course, flip to Michigan to remain, of course, home, because I'm pretty sure he was for Michigan, but Michigan offered him a much better deal with, of course, NIL and all that. But now with everything that went down, there, of course, is rumors. Nothing is made official, though. It's mostly just sort of rumors right now. Nothing is sort of official. Nothing has been announced by Bryce Underwood himself or anybody else that he is transferring out of Michigan. But mostly everybody thinks there is something, is because, of course, LSU legend himself, the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, took to social media to try to recruit Bryce Underwood. This is what Sports Illustrated said, but this is via Tyrann Mathieu on his Twitter, on his Twitter or X, whatever you want to say. It says, "Come home, son, at Bryce Underwood. We are waiting, and we will accept you with open arms forever, LSU." He posted that back, I believe, on December 10th. That was, of course, a couple days ago, right around when the whole Michigan stuff went down with, of course, the head coach. Mostly, of course, now I'm thinking that it looks like, of course, with LSU, with Tyrann Mathieu specifically, it looks like he is trying to recruit and trying to sort of not bring back, but sort of bring in Bryce Underwood. And, of course, there is a lot of people saying that Lane Kiffin himself will definitely be having his eye on, but there's other quarterbacks that he could potentially have his eye on, even not only just Lane Kiffin, but also LSU as well. So Bryce Underwood, in my opinion, I think it would definitely be pretty shocking and very interesting that he comes to the school that really actually wanted him and he actually verbally committed to, but then flipped his commit to go to Michigan. And now, of course, with this whole situation with his coach, now looking like he's going to go back to LSU to potentially play under Lane Kiffin now. But of course, nothing is really official. Nothing's really been announced. He is transferring. But these next four quarterbacks are, of course, are in the transfer portal. Nothing's been official yet for these quarterbacks of where they're going. Don't know when we'll actually see it, so hopefully it's not before whenever this video will come out. But the first quarterback is DJ Lagway. Now, this was actually yesterday, as of me recording this video, on Monday, really, of this week. Monday or Sunday, I think it was, I can't remember, that I saw that DJ Lagway was actually entering the transfer portal. DJ Lagway, of course, played with the Florida Gators last year. He, of course, was the number one dual threat quarterback in 2024. He played his freshman and sophomore year. In 12 games, though, in 2025, he completed 63% of his passes while passing for 16 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. The dual threat signal caller dealt with injuries, though. He did, of course, deal with the injury bug dating back to last offseason, where he was hampered by a shoulder surgery and a sports hernia. So definitely he has battled through injuries. He battled through injuries as a freshman this offseason before sophomore year. So definitely he is the number one because of his dual threat ability. And of course, we know Lane Kiffin definitely sort of has something with sort of dual threat quarterbacks, especially with good arms. So definitely with DJ Lagway, it's kind of mixed with me because DJ Lagway, I don't think he is a bad player or a bad quarterback. It's just, of course, over the past few seasons, he hasn't really played like the number one dual threat quarterback, really. Of course, he's definitely made questionable throws. Of course, us LSU fans know and will always remember the 5 interception game he threw, but definitely would be sort of a questionable one. But I definitely would not be shocked if we do try to continue to go after him because him stay in the SEC, and maybe something can come out of him if he does transfer. Of course, again, if he does transfer, we might see some sort of quarterback battle between him and MVP, or even MVP or any other quarterback that comes in. Coming in at number 2, though, is another quarterback that has definitely been being talked about a lot that could transfer to LSU. That, of course, is Arizona State's Sam Leavitt, who actually came into the season as well as a Heisman contender. But sadly, of course, due to injury, he missed most of 2025. He managed to finish, though, before the injury with over 1,628 yards passing and 10 touchdowns, and also threw 3 interceptions, also having 5 scores on the ground and 306 yards. So that, of course, was how this last year went. With Arizona. Of course, the year before, in 2024, was definitely a great year for him. Great year for him with Arizona State. He began his career with Michigan State in 2023. Then he transferred to Arizona State. So if he transfers to LSU, I believe this would be his senior year, or if he has more years of eligibility, because he did miss a good chunk of this past season. So, but I think it would definitely be great. But we do have some tough competition, though, because On3 Sports did actually post this on X when Sam Leavitt was entering the transfer portal, that not only LSU, but interesting teams like Oregon, Indiana, Miami, I should say, are also looking at Arizona State's quarterback Sam Leavitt for him to go to one of those schools. So definitely some tough competition for those schools, especially Miami and Indiana, because of course Mendoza, who just won the Heisman, possibly going to the NFL, and also possibly Carson Beck with Miami. So one of those two schools. Only issue would be for LSU again. He would try to be in a QB battle, I'm guessing. That's only just me. I'm only saying QB battle because there possibly could be a good chance, and I honestly wouldn't mind seeing it, that MVP Michael Van Buren could be the starting quarterback for next season. He's played pretty well over the past few games, We'll see how he plays in the bowl game and all that, so yeah. But Sam Leavitt, in my opinion, definitely is probably the best option, really, out of the 4. We'll, of course, talk about the other 2. He's really probably the best one out of these 4 players. Maybe the next quarterback could be a good option as well. But if we could land Sam Leavitt, who has definitely been a solid quarterback in his time when he's healthy, could be a valuable quarterback for us, for LSU. But the next one is actually, never really heard about this quarterback a lot, but it's actually Cincinnati's quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, who actually played 2 years at Indiana before transferring to Cincinnati for this season and only oh no, this plays 11 games for Indiana. But he only played, of course, this year with. He was a 2 year starter though for the Bearcats for Cincinnati. In 2025, across the 12 games he played in, he of course is also a dual threat signal caller as well. Completed 62% of his passes while also passing for 2,800 yards and 27 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. Only 5 interceptions. So him also being a dual threat sort of quarterback definitely could be an interesting quarterback to get. So maybe him or Sam Leavitt could be a top candidate for us to get a quarterback out of the transfer portal. Seeing this at the bottom, other teams also Texas Tech, sort of a top team as well, looking at Sorsby. So definitely could be interesting as well. But this final one is definitely interesting and was a shocking one actually when I saw that he is entering the transfer portal. That is number 4. At number 4 is Nebraska's quarterback, Dylan Raiola. Of course, the man who is the exact copy and twin of apparently the exact copy and twin of Patrick Mahomes. Same number and everything. And of course, he had a great freshman year and definitely looked like he was going to have a bright future ahead of him with Nebraska. But he did have a season-ending fibula injury against USC on November 1st. Across 2 seasons, though, his freshman and of course this was his sophomore season, he had 69.1% on his passes, over 4,819 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. He went 13-9 overall with Nebraska and 6-9 against Big Ten opponents, with a significant workload put on his back. As of course he started as a freshman in a big time conference like the Big Ten. Before he got injured, though, this season, he completed 72.4% of his passes with 2,000 passing yards and 18 touchdowns with 6 interceptions, I should say. But of course, he had this season-ending injury. He's a former five-star recruit. So now with him entering the transfer portal, really, of course, he is a sought-after quarterback available. Initial reports indicate that the Oregon Ducks, are a team that could be looking at him, but could LSU get involved? I don't know. Maybe they could. It could be interesting to have a quarterback like Dylan Raiola, but if a team like Oregon, I would kind of see if him still probably staying in the Big Ten, but I think would be interesting. But I think my top 2 favorites would kind of be to potentially us to go after could be Sorsby from Cincinnati and Sam Leavitt. Those are my kind of top 2 quarterbacks. And I think after them, DJ Lagway would sort of be 3rd. And I think 4th would be Dylan Raiola. I really don't see us getting Dylan Raiola. I think he might stay around the same Big Ten area. Maybe he'll go somewhere else, but I don't know. I don't think LSU. I don't want to say LSU is not going to be a good fit for him. It would still be interesting if we do. But I think really the top 3 is, of course, Lagway, Leavitt, and, of course, this Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati. But I think my favorite, really, of who I think we should definitely go after should be Sam Leavitt. Again, also the honorable mention, Bryce Underwood. Nothing, of course, again, has still not been official or announced for Bryce Underwood if he's transferring. If he's not transferring, we'll have to see. But there is actually one quarterback that has been rumored that I'm shocked that is not being talked about on this list, is, of course, Chambliss, the Ole Miss quarterback, because of course the rumors are still going around that potentially he could be leaving Ole Miss after these playoffs to go join up with his former head coach with Lane Kiffin and LSU. Now, of course, those are just rumors. Rumors still going around. Nothing's been official yet. Of course, really, I've been kind of hearing and seeing that he's been asked these questions, and really he hasn't been giving an answer or so. I know he's trying to focus on the playoffs and all that, but no sort of answer has been fully given, with Chambliss. So we'll just have to wait and see. if he ends up transferring, if we do get one of these transfer quarterbacks. So definitely a crazy transfer portal. Of course, we had a couple of players from us transfer, like of course Juwan Johnson and Caleb Jackson at the running back positions, which of course does kind of lower our running back room. But you still have two young great running backs in Caden Durham and Harlem Berry, who's coming into his sophomore year at a pretty good freshman year. So you kind of still have a pretty good running back group, So I mean, especially for Juwan Johnson, good luck to him and Caleb Jackson to wherever they end up going. So again, we'll just have to see, and we'll just have to see what this team does with Michael Van Buren. Of course, there's the question with that. If he performs pretty well in the bowl game, we'll see potentially what his future will be like for LSU if we end up getting a quarterback through the transfer portal. So don't know if possibly we have a quarterback battle or if whoever we get in the transfer portal will be the new starting quarterback for next season. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. I think that's kind of it for this video, it for this article. Again, I'll leave a link in the description to this article if you guys want to go check it out. It's LSU Tigers on Sports Illustrated, so definitely go check it out. Link will be in the description below, so you guys can do that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of who you guys think could be coming to LSU. Which one of these quarterbacks do you think? Do you think maybe Chambliss could be transferring? Do you think Bryce Underwood would be transferring from Michigan? And of course, again, which one of these four quarterbacks that I mentioned or that are on this article do you guys think that LSU should target and potentially should come to LSU? And of course, and other thoughts as well that you guys have. Let me know in the comments down below. And again, ending the video here. Not going to be too much longer with this video. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Hope you guys made it all the way to the video. If you guys did, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, as always, hit that like button. And again, also hit the subscribe button and notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the BrewCrew channel. And with all that out of the way, I hope you guys have an amazing, blessed day. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.